Welcome to this week's episode of the Vibrant Balanced Living podcast. I'm so excited to dive into this topic that is so close to my heart, and I call it What If You Gave Yourself a Year? And this concept isn't just about setting goals, it's about making a commitment to yourself. It's about embracing change and seeing what's truly possible when you give yourself the time to grow. So, today I want to explore three simple areas that can inspire you to start your own year long journey of transformation. Hi, my name is Heather Monty. If you're new here and if we haven't met yet, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you've come back for the next episode, I'm so glad to have you back. And what I wanted to do is just share my own story first before we start talking about sort of the power of a year. And I got this idea from I think it might have been Bill Gates that said this. I don't know, don't quote me on this, but it was something to the effect of that most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a month, but they underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade. All right. So, with this idea that most people are like, I'm going to get all this stuff done in the next month or 3 months or 6 months or whatever it might be, and not really having this sort of long term vision or long term focus on you can actually get a whole lot done if you give yourself some time, but with a little bit of structure and a little bit of strategy. And then, with my own personal setbacks, I've been involved in health and fitness and wellness and all that stuff since 1994, 1995, right around there. Got my first gym membership when I was 17 years old. I used to go to the high school football team gym. The gym teacher let me use it after school so I could lift weights. And I've been involved in this area for a long time, which means I've had my own setbacks. I've had some pretty major setbacks and I've had some minor ones as well, but I've always figured out a way to come back from it. And I think that the biggest thing that I have learned over the last 30 years is that to give yourself time and to give yourself grace. And I think the most recent setback I had was breaking my tibia and fibula. And thinking that I was going to be back up and running and going, for 8, 12, 16 weeks later. That's kind of what I thought. Now, for some context, I did break my femur in high school. I broke it in a very serious car accident. And I was, on crutches, bedridden for 10 weeks, but, within 16 weeks or so, I was back up and at least walking. I was doing all the things, but I was at least walking. I had a limp as a whole nother story, but I think that I was really comparing the 45-year-old version of myself to the 16-year-old version of myself and how long, sometimes things take. Sometimes things take a little bit longer as we get older. We've just got other things that are going on. And so what I did with myself was in April of this year, April of 2024, is really when I decided to focus again on weight training, strength training. I had been doing physical therapy after I broke my leg. I had been doing some, basic gym workouts, things like this. I was doing yoga, but I was really doing restorative yoga, yin yoga, not this like super power flow vinyasa yoga, hot yoga, stuff like that. I wasn't doing any of that. In April of 2024, I thought, what if I just gave myself a year? What could I accomplish in a year? If I can just make the concerted effort to get sort of back to myself. And we're only 5 months into that right now. But yesterday I was looking at some of my progress photos. I take progress photos pretty regularly, and I was looking at some of my progress photos from last August, so August of 2023, so over a year ago now. And I was just sort of blown away at just what kind of changes happened physically in my body the last year. And really, in the last, like I said, 5 months, 6 months, I really am starting to feel it on an energetic level, on a physical level. So I see those physical changes, but now I'm really to this point of I feel really good. And if I was really just looking for a short-term fix, a quick program, I'm going to do this one 30-day program and be done with it and call it good, I would have been extremely frustrated with my results. And so, I do have on my website, I have 30-day programs, I have a 12-week program, but I'm very honest about it that this is intended to be to get you started And you're going to repeat it over and over and over again. You've got a 30-day program, you're going to repeat it again in 30 days, or repeat it again in 30 days, and make adjustments, make tweaks as needed. And so let's talk about the power of a year. And so why a year? Why a year? So like I said, I think that we're sort of bombarded with these, 1 week challenges and 7-day challenges, 30-day challenges, all this kind of stuff. I have them on my website as well. They are there to help you get started. Okay. That's what they are there for. They are not there intended to be you're going to change your life in 7 days. You're not going to see the results that you think that you're looking for in those 7 days. And so really understanding, having this mindset, really shifting and changing your mindset around the fact that transformation takes time, and it's not going to happen overnight. A real change is not going to happen overnight. When I was working in education, I would say to people all the time, I worked in a lot of, like trade schools, community colleges, shorter programs, things like that. I also worked in universities all the way up through doctoral programs. I've done it all, right? But I also oftentimes would say to people, like, it's a year, it's a year-long program, it's a 9-month program, it's a 4-year program. You're going to get older anyways. You might as well be happy with where you are in your life. Okay. And the same goes with a physical transformation, a mental transformation, a spiritual transformation, whatever it might be. You're going to be that age anyways. So you might as well be further along on the journey that you have chosen to go on. And so really understand that, you know, we want to get out of this mindset of overestimating what we're going to do in the next month. I've got a vacation in 3 months. I need to lose 30 pounds. Getting away from sort of that mindset of, like, let's think about what can we get done in a year? What kinds of transformations can we have happen in a year? So I think that my example that I just really wanted to share is that, April is when I started really focusing again on, weight training, being very specific about what I am doing with weight training, being very specific with yoga. I've added in cardio. I'm training to hike the Grand Canyon right now. So I've been very diligent and very mindful about the workouts that I'm doing, and not just doing movement for the sake of movement. Okay. And I feel like this sort of switch happened, that this sort of something happened in my body, something happened in my mind, that I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling strong, and I want to keep it going. So that motivation was, I need to sort of get out of this rut, or help repair my body after breaking my leg. It was really sort of I need to get out of this, to now I'm in this mindset of, I feel really good and I want to continue feeling really good. And that's where that motivation is coming from now. And so I want to keep that going. And a year is really, it's long enough to develop some new habits. I do have a Secrets to Healthy Habits workshop on my website that you can go. I talk a little bit about identifying some habits that we have that we might want to change. And then how do we make those lasting changes? How do we replace those habits with better habits that are more aligned with our goals? And, you know, there's all sorts of research out there about how long it takes something to become a habit, right? The reality is it's just going to depend. It's going to depend on you. It's going to depend on your situation, where you are in life. And a year is really a long enough time to develop some new habits, to develop those habits, and then to just get in that groove. The idea here is you want to just sort of get in the groove where this is just who I am now. I am the kind of person that eats vegetables. I am the kind of person that drinks water. I am the kind of person that gets enough sleep at night. That it's a long enough time for you to start developing that identity and that mindset shift. The other thing I think is really important, my second point here, is to embrace the journey, not just the destination. I think when we make a decision to improve our lives, improve ourselves, improve our bodies, improve our minds, improve whatever it is that we want to improve upon, is that we sort of look for a end point. And, if you look at goals, if you look at any sort of goal setting frameworks, or what, I talk about it in my workshops as well, is that we want to put some sort of a time frame on it. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and we don't know if that time frame is realistic or not, but we can make adjustments as we learn more things. We can tweak that goal. So But what I really think is important when we're talking about making this shift into becoming somebody that we want to be, we really need to think about this as we're enjoying that journey. We're enjoying that process. We're not just so focused on this one particular goal. It's that whole thing that happens in that journey is what are the different things that we're learning about ourselves? What are the different things that we're learning about nutrition and what we're learning about working out? We're learning about, things that make us feel good and things that make us feel not so good, and really just focusing on those small everyday moments, and that each step forward, no matter how small, is progress. I'll give you another example here that, I'm at that age where I get up and I stand up and I need to take 3 or 4 steps to kind of get going. Right. And I've been spending a lot of time working on some of these things. And I noticed, 2 weeks ago or so, that now when I get up, it's not every time anymore. I still have it once in a while, but not every time that I need to take 3 or 4 steps to get going. That's just a very, very, very small win, a very small, a point of progress, but it's something. It's showing that I'm making some positive changes in myself, and reflecting on that progress, that I'm noticing those things. It's not always just what you see in the mirror. It's things that you're able to do, things that you notice you're able to do again, things that you haven't been able to do for 20 years and now you can do them. So think about the journey of where it is that you want to go, and reflect on that progress and celebrate those small wins, and then remain open to adjusting your goals and expectations, because like I said, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And myself as an example, I thought, I broke my leg and I thought 8, 12, 16 weeks later we're going to be good, not understanding that they're the tibia and fibula are pretty large bones in your body, and they do take time to heal. So it was a case of I didn't know what I didn't know. Actually, it was a case of I had people telling me and I wasn't listening to them. So I just needed to take my own advice here and remain open to adjusting my goals and my expectations. And then finally, I really think that using the balance method as your guide, as your framework, as your guiding light for getting back to a healthy lifestyle, or amplifying up your healthy lifestyle. You're like, all right, I'm on a good roll here. Let's amp it up a little bit. I really think that the balance method that I have created is a wonderful framework to help you sort of break this down into very simple, easy steps that you can use to say, okay, this month or this week or today, this is the thing I'm going to work on, or this quarter, or whatever it might end up being. And if you haven't seen any of my videos or any of my content around the balance method, this is a method that I created to really just let's just bring this back down to the basics. We're not going to split hairs. We're not going to dig deep into the minutia. It's really just, let's get back to the basics of what a healthy lifestyle is, what it looks like, and start to focus on those. And then we're going to get to the point that these 7 different pillars just become part of who we are. That these are how we're going to make all of our decisions, and it's just going to become sort of natural that we make decisions for our health and wellness based on what we know helps us to feel good, look good, all those things. Just to touch on this, that consistency over perfection, progress over perfection, is what we're shooting for here. Nobody's expecting anybody to be perfect. You shouldn't be expecting yourself to be perfect. But this is just things that we want to think about on a daily basis. Are we moving? Are we getting enough water? Are we managing our stress? We can't always get rid of stress. So how are we going to manage it? Are we making sure that we're getting enough sleep? Are we getting enough recovery time in between workouts? Are we nurturing our body and mind? Are we paying attention to the type of content that we're consuming? Is social media, pissing you off and you still go on it? Paying attention to those kinds of things, but then also nurturing our body through nutrition and good foods, and making sure that we're getting a balanced diet, and creating a success plan. And you've got to have a structure, you've got to have a place that you're working towards, and creating that success plan is really going to give you that sort of guidance. Again, we don't always know how long things are going to take, but if we at least have a plan of action, even creating something like a workout plan for the week, or creating something like a meal plan for the week, it's now we have reduced the amount of decisions I need to make every single day. I made the plan on Sunday. It's Wednesday night. I don't have to figure out what I'm going to do at the end of the day, what I'm going to do for dinner. It's already planned out. I just show up and execute the plan. All right. And then embrace wellness through consistency and accountability. I think that, we really want to pay attention to the idea of being consistent and making progress over perfection. All right. We don't need to be perfect at everything all the times. If you're like me, super type A plus overachiever, it's that mindset shift of this doesn't need to be perfect. We don't need to be perfect all the time. We don't need to execute the plan perfectly. We've made the plan. We don't have to execute it perfectly. There's no expectation to execute it perfectly. And then accountability is sometimes you need an accountability partner. You might need a coach. You might need, a group coaching program. Some people are really good at holding themselves accountable towards things. But I really think that when you're getting started at something, it is helpful to have that accountability of, this is my goal and I want somebody external to myself to hold me accountable to those particular goals. So remember, that year is about progress. It's not about perfection. It's about growth and discovering what you're truly capable of when you make yourself a priority. So what if you gave yourself a year? Imagine where you could be 12 months from now. All right. Just think about where life could be 12 months from now. And if that does seem daunting and overwhelming to you, it's okay. We take that year, we break it down into quarters, then break it down into months, weeks, and then days. And we take these larger goals and we break them into consistent daily actions. So if you are ready to start your own year-long journey of transformation, I would love to have you join our Vibrant Balanced Living community. And you can also check out on my website, if you go to heathermonthly.com/VBL challenge, it still stands for Vibrant Balanced Living Challenge. heathermonthly.com/VBL challenge. You can go there. It's a 7-day challenge that I have that introduces you into more detail about the balance method and the different aspects of the balance method, things that you can incorporate in each day. And then from there, what you do is you take one area of the balance method that you want to work on and spend a week on it, spend a month on it, spend 6 weeks on it, whatever it might be. So check it out there, heathermonthly.com/VBL challenge. So thank you all for joining me today. I'll talk to you in the next episode.